Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. So today we get to take a look at the 2023 Lexus NX350 F Sport handling, finished off in atomic silver. MSRP is just over $55,000. Now this is powered by the 2.4 liter 4-cylinder turbo. It's paired to the 8-speed automatic transmission, pumping out 275 horsepower, 315 pound-feet of torque. That power sent through the all-wheel drive system, propelling this 4,000-pound SUV from 0 to 60 in 6.5 seconds. It has a top speed of 127 miles an hour. It also has a fuel capacity of 14.5 gallons. You'll expect to see around 22 miles per gallon in the city, 28 out on the highway. This also has a wheelbase of 105.9 inches. Its overall length is 183.5. It has a width of 73.4, a height of 65.4, and its ground clearance measures in at 7.7 inches. As we move on to the exterior styling now for this NX350, let's start off with the hourglass design for the grille. This is nothing new from Lexus, but for this F Sport model, the surround is finished off in gloss black. Really nice divider between the mesh that has a lot of cutouts and the bodywork, of course. Now the Lexus badge is also the forward-facing sensor for the adaptive cruise. There's a forward-facing camera, all of the parking sensors. This even gets LED headlights, DRLs, and turn signals. The headlights and high beams have that triple beam design, and then a very crisp point for that DRL, which is pretty iconic for Lexus models. Now this also has more gloss black on both sides, along with the LED fog lights that are tucked up nicely in that lower section. And then some very nice lines that come down the hood, almost have a circular design to it right in the middle where they fade away, and we have some more bodywork just above that Lexus badge. Now for the F Sport model, it gives it these 20-inch wheels, which are finished off in gloss black. This also has the adaptive suspension and the performance dampers, a part of that F Sport package. That badge is also located just behind that front tire. Gloss black, power folding side mirrors with the turn signal and the camera system. And then full moonroof up top, gloss black for those roof rails, as well as surrounding all the window trim. And very nice lines that run down the side. There's a bunch of contoured lines in the lower section, some more lines that divide behind that rear door handle there, and then very nice arches for the fender flares, another line just above that taillight. So I think it has a really nice side profile. And then in back, we have that sleek spoiler up top with the third brake light, wiper blade in the lower section. This has a set of LED taillights with the LED bar that runs right through that power lift gate. Parking sensors, backup camera, some more trim accents in that lower section. And this can even tow right around 2,000 pounds, pretty adequate for this style of vehicle, so you can hook up some smaller equipment if you need to bring it with you. Now, of course, you can use the button on the key fob or the one up underneath. And this is a 2-row vehicle in back. Check out how much space is provided in this SUV. Now, what's also cool is if you lift the floor up, you have some hidden compartments where you can place some groceries, any other items that you want to get out of the way. That is a lot of space to place additional items. There's a storage net on the driver's side, a little bit more of a cutout on that passenger side, so if you have some longer items, you can place them sideways if you need to. Now for this cargo net or this top cover, you can actually fold it in half, kind of like what I just did there, if you want to remove it out of the way. And then from there, you can also fold down the back seat. So if you want to take that out of the way, you can give yourself a lot more interior space, both with that and the seats, just depending on what you have for the day. Now up top, you can lock the vehicle. One on the left side will just close it, which is very convenient, of course. And as we work our way to the back seats, you can actually unlock and lock this from the back door handles, which is cool. And another thing about Lexus is the door handle is actually fixed to the bodywork. So the electronic button is on the inside, so simply just push on that, and then you can open the door from there. Now for this particular model, check out the two-tone red leather seats. Paired with this exterior color is a really good match. Now for the door panel, there's that two-tone design with the red and black leather, all the red stitching. Really cool trim piece just behind one of the speakers, more storage space in the lower section. And then this is actually the electronic button to release the door. Simply just push on that to do that. If you pull it twice, if the battery dies for whatever reason, that is your manual release to open all 4 doors. Now at 5'10", I have a good amount of space in the back seats. There's storage pockets, air vents, along with some auxiliaries down below. Plenty of storage, two-tone for those floor mats there. And like I said, have about an inch or so above my head. These are very comfortable seats, so I really don't have any complaints with it. Even with the roofline right here, it's not bad at all. So you can have 3 people back here very comfortably. Now right in the middle, we have the armrest along with 2 cup holders if you need to use that. And this entire piece is fixed. So we have a 60-40 split. You can't fold this piece down individually. And as far as visibility goes, that's a pretty big pillar right there. But I have been driving this around for a couple of days. I don't have any issues with that. We have the window there, your side mirror adjustments, and then the camera system, which I'll show here later. But you have plenty of visibility, even with that exterior design. So it's a good blend of both. And for the front door panel, this has memory seats, all of the window adjustments, side mirror controls, same release of course, a little bit more storage down below. And then the F Sport badges down below along with the Sport NX. And check out the 2-tone seats again. Automatic of course, so all of those controls are down on the side. And then another part of the F Sport package is this really nice perforated and leather steering wheel with more of the red stitching, F Sport badge in the lower section. Let's fire this up though so we can go over the rest of these controls and we can bring this to life. We have the animations both in the infotainment and gauge cluster setup. For the steering wheel, on the right side, this is how you can activate cruise control, lane keeping assist, and then all of these buttons, you actually hover your finger on and you can see what they are on the head-up display. So currently, without pushing any of the buttons, there's miles per hour, along with what gear you're in, speed limit, compass, and the adaptive cruise. If I hover my finger on the lower section, now you can see all of these buttons and what they do. So at the bottom there's mode, at the top is your distance. So you can control that when you have the adaptive cruise control set. If I push that lower button, now we can actually go through some information as well as adjusting that head-up display. So by going left to right, there's an eco meter, you have audio, you can look at a boost gauge, as well as G-force, your gear position. There's also a blank page, fuel consumption, and then you can look at your average speed and elapsed time. So that's pretty cool to be able to go through. It's actually very easy to use. While they're not labeled down below, you can clearly see them even while you're driving since it's on that head-up display. On the left side, there's volume and then these same controls. So by now hovering my finger on that left side, you can currently see that we have the volume controls like I mentioned earlier, but then you also have tuning and then voice commands and Bluetooth. If I push on that one more time, now we have audio along with mode, and you still have tuning there. So again, very intuitive, very easy to go through. This also has steering wheel mounted paddle shifters finished off in the same trim to match the steering wheel. And then over on the left side of the steering wheel, there's a little bit of a storage bin. We have the tailgate release or the liftgate release along with the fuel cap release. There's adjustments for the odometer and gauge cluster setup. We have some nice gloss black trim, and that works its way around this massive infotainment system. Now on this left side, all of this is fixed, so you can get into your navigation when you have that. There's also music, phone when that is paired. You also have some vehicle information that you can further go through, driving assist, so you can monitor all of the standard safety features from your lane departure, even your safe exit, rear cross traffic alert, and all of that you can turn on and off as needed. You can go into the all-wheel drive system just to see where the power is being sent, and then you have tire pressure, vehicle alerts, and then some settings. So these are just general information that you can go through just to set up the way that you would like to. Now you'll notice too, that is basically the upper 2/3 of the screen. The screen actually continues for all of the rest of the controls down below. So we have some climate adjustments, heated and ventilated seats with the heated steering wheel. If I push on climate, you can adjust which of those that you would like to use. And then if you push on these 4 buttons, you basically have a home screen here where you can go through additional information, which is nice to see. And then in the lower section, fan speed, you have auto, recirc, AC, and then the temperature dials are located within the screen. So if I turn on that, now you can see those adjust. You can sync these and unsync them and then read that right in the middle. Now underneath that, there is a physical button for power and volume for the radio, as well as defrosters and the heated mirrors. So it's a really nice system, not a ton of tech, but it gives you everything that you need. Now there's 2 air vents underneath that, and then we have the view button for the 3D camera system. So once you hop in, this is a live readout of what's around the vehicle currently. If I push on that again, it will exit back out. So it's nice to be able to do that. And then underneath that, some more gloss black trim goes from the screen with some red leather and wraps its way all the way down to all the controls below. Now hidden within that, we have the different drive modes. So if I twist this dial to the left, that is for Eco mode. Sport and Sport S Plus are to the right. You will notice the gauge cluster change. And if I push on that, we are back to the normal setting. So it's pretty cool how it will change the gauge cluster just depending on the driving mode. Also hidden underneath that trim piece, a little bit of storage with some auxiliaries. And then we have this compartment with a 12 volt. Now you can hide that away and present the wireless charging pad, which is really nice to have. And when you don't need that, you can get some items that are up underneath. Now on this right side, there are 2 cup holders. And then for the shifter, this is the shift pattern. We'll go into neutral, up for reverse. It will stay in reverse, of course, where we have that 360 camera system again. On this left side, you can change the angle slightly and then adjust the guidelines just depending on what you'd like to see. Now, if I put the vehicle into drive, which is the same process as reverse, just the opposite way, and then I push on that view button that I showed earlier, you can pull up the forward-facing camera. So it's a 2-step process, but you have a few different angles as well as the guidelines, very similar to the rear, of course. You even have an automatic setting. So when you slow down to roughly under 3 or 4 miles an hour, forward-facing camera will automatically pop up. So it's helpful in parking lot situations, things like that. Now, if we go straight back from drive, that is the manual setting, allowing you to use those paddle shifters, and park is just behind that. Now, behind all of those controls, there's the auto hold along with traction control. We have an off-road setting, the engine start stop, downhill assist control, and the e-brake. And then for the center console, you can open this 2 different ways. Very common for Lexus models, plenty of storage space down below. And then the glove box also has an ample amount of space. Now up top, this does have a sunglass holder, which I know a lot of people like, very convenient to have. And we have the controls for the sunroof and the sunshade. That is actually a very quick moving sunshade, very impressive to see. And that provides a lot of light. And then we'll take another look at visibility, which is pretty easy to see in both directions. Again, you have your side mirrors if you need a little bit more visibility. As we set off now behind the wheel for this NX350 F Sport, I've been driving this around for a few days, and honestly, I really like it. Now, from the perspective of being $55,000 and what this has to offer, Lexus and Toyota don't have the most technology, but I don't mean that in a bad way, because we have a ton of standard safety features, which is awesome to see. We have a really nice luxury vehicle at a pretty affordable price. We're just missing some tech that some other vehicles may have, but those are going to cost a little bit more. So for the price, I do think this is a really nice vehicle to go with. If you want something that's very luxurious, it's going to give you the information that you need without going overboard or to that next level. For me, this is pretty much all I'm going to use. I know a lot of people are like that. There's a lot of other brands that have so many different controls that it can get confusing. I like how simple it is. It's a little bit more reliable because there's not a ton of stuff that is in this, but I really like the layout of everything. So for 55 grand, and that also depends on the trim level too. F Sport is the top trim level, so you can actually go under 50K if you don't get the F Sport model. So with that out of the way, I've been driving this around for a couple days, like I mentioned. It is so comfortable with this adaptive suspension. It's so nice. It's like you're driving on a cloud. It's what you'd expect from a luxury brand like Lexus. Even cars passing, you really can't hear them. It is very well insulated. We have incredible seats with the bolstering support to them to just give you that nice drive to daily drive this vehicle. Lexus and Toyota are pretty much number 1, number 2 in reliability. So this is something that you can rack up the miles on and really have no complaints. I have also been averaging right around 24.5 miles per gallon, and that's between city, some highway driving, mainly around the city. So it's pretty fuel efficient too, especially for the engine and the weight of this vehicle. But let's go ahead and put it into Sport S Plus now. And I really like how the gauge cluster changes. It gives you that sporty feel with the tack running across the top. And we will go to these paddle shifters and see what this 4-cylinder turbo has to offer. And we're getting up to speed, not really having to get that high in the RPM range there. That is one thing that I do wish to see on F Sport versions, is maybe they had a little bit more bump in power being the F Sport. We have a lot of great handling characteristics, and the suspension, steering wheel, even the seats too for the F Sport package. Would be nice to see a bump in horsepower, but this is not really that kind of vehicle. It gets up and moves, so I don't have any complaints with the power that it has. But with that F Sport, maybe a bump in power would be nice to see as an addition. So from third gear, just a mild acceleration, we're back up to speed. And from second gear, here we go. And we're up to speed. So like I mentioned earlier, it has a good peppy engine to it to get up and move. But now that we're cruising, we can pop it into eco mode, put it back into drive, and just enjoy being behind the wheel of this $55,000 Lexus. I forgot to show earlier, we do have the camera system in the rear view mirror, which a lot of vehicles are coming with. I think it's very beneficial. It adds to the visibility with those pillars like I showed earlier. It's slightly bulky. I have plenty of visibility though right now, even with those headrests up. But if I want a little bit more, I can flip up that camera system. So we have a good bit of technology for this price without it going overboard, which is nice to see. And it's very, very nice to drive. Now with the driving modes, I mentioned that earlier, especially when we did that quick acceleration. The driving modes don't affect the suspension, but it does give you a better throttle response, which is nice. Yeah, it doesn't affect the suspension from what I can briefly tell here. But it is nice that you have that just depending on how you're driving this for the day. But that suspension is so comfortable. And as far as the user interface with everything, as I've been driving this for a couple days, everything is super easy to use. The layout is very nice. I like that this massive screen is angled towards the driver slightly. So, and then when we have the camera system, we can see other objects if we need a little bit more visibility. But everything is right at your fingertips, very easy to use and control. And it would make for an incredible daily driver. It's a little bit tight maybe for the row behind me, but you have an ample amount of space for the size of this vehicle. It's not the largest SUV in the Lexus lineup, but it offers a good bit of space for its size. So if you're not looking for a large vehicle, but you still want it to have usability, this is definitely a perfect option to go with. And of course you can spec it as you would like to. If you're not a fan of red, you can go with some other colors too. So you have a lot of different options that you can go with for this vehicle, just depending on your price and what you're looking to get out of it. But let's go ahead and do one more acceleration. We'll put it into Sport S Plus, and here we go. Back up to the speed limit, and there we go. But that's going to wrap it up for the 2023 Lexus NX350 F Sport handling. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Give it a huge thumbs up if you did, and consider smashing that subscribe button so you don't miss out on our daily uploads. I will see you all in the next video.